Good morning, folks, from beautiful Tennessee. Today the water is kind of yucky. Normally it's very beautiful, but let me show you this water. This is the dirtiest water I have fished in some time. I can't even remember when did I fish dirtier water. When did we get so much rain? This lake is never dirty, but it's very dirty today. Tell you the truth, I came here to catch some trout. These are my 8-footers that I use. They're not for casting. These guides are not for casting. I was gonna do some trolling with some tiny crankbaits to catch some trout, but how is a trout gonna find a lure in this milky water? So plan B right away. Try to find some panfish, because I can see the panfish and I can dangle in front of their mouth, and it's easier, I think, in this dirty water to save the day. But I don't know, hopefully I can eke a video here, and if I do, I will still try some trolling later. I don't know, if I catch a trout trolling, you guys will see it. Let me show you. I was testing the new Chinese spool. I already made a video about it on the Vanford. Man, on daylight it doesn't look that bad. The lip is still huge, but I already made a couple of casts just to kind of wet the line. This is brand new line. By the way, this is the 1.5 number 10, not the 125, but 1.5, because the water is very high and it's going to be deep. Black on black, when you see this kind of water, folks, I'm not an expert, but my personal opinion is shiny doesn't work. The best thing in this kind of water is black on black. That's what I tied. First cast, look at what I got. And this thing weighs a few pounds, and I dragged it with my brand new 2.1 pound ester. I used to think that 2.3 pounds is as low as a human needs to go. But these micro guides on the Eradicator, and if you have a Daiwa or Suare or Shimano rod, you think you have micro guides? No, you don't. They're just small but not micro. These things are micro. For the Eradicator and a couple of other exotic JDM rods, switching from 2.3 pound line to 2.1 pound line, which in terms of diameter is from 0.11 to 0.10, makes a noticeable difference in casting. It is noticeable. You can tell right away the line is coming out easy. Now, is the spool too big to cast? In all honesty, I thought it casted just fine. But that is, of course, very difficult for a human to detect a difference of a few feet. You guys who think you can detect a few feet, get out of here. You can't. In all cases, I can promise you that I can still cast as far as I need with this lip here. I say spool instead of lip, but I mean the lip. So even if you lose some distance, you might lose. Theoretically, you should lose for sure, because, I mean, it's just a bigger lip. But even if you do, if you like the spool, I think you can fish with it just fine. But let me put you on the chesty here. And let's go try to twitch a few fish first. And if twitching doesn't work, I know what will work. I have not one, but 2 floats over here. We're gonna dangle a Nico worm right on top of their mouth. And I wanna see the fish that is gonna resist dangled Nico worm. I don't know if I should make a jig for the Nico worm too. It has to have different kind of head. It needs completely different geometry with smaller diameter. Then the head will be much longer, because, yeah, to make a 1 gram jig with a thin diameter, it will be much longer. But okay, let's try to twitch some fish first. You guys know I always prefer to start the spot twitching. I tightened the drag to drag out that root. One thing I'm noticing, the drag is not easy to adjust. First it's too tight, then I keep opening, then it becomes too loose, and even when I tighten it still keeps being loose. Then why did I have to open it so much on the first place, since I was doing very small changes? Like I was opening it only 1 or 2 clicks and testing, 1 or 2 clicks and testing, and it was tight. Then all of a sudden was too open. I don't know if that's a defect of the, maybe the felt is thinner and it needs a double felt and it cannot press it properly. I don't know. I'm not gonna hold this against the spool. I'm not gonna hold it against the spool. But tell me, what do you think about the drag sound? Definitely more enjoyable. Definitely more enjoyable. 1.5 number 10, folks, with a little bluegill. It's not too big for this little bluegill. Look how pale it is. You know why it's pale? This fish was pale to blend in the color of the water. That's why it was pale. In Wisconsin, where the water is very clear, the fish are black to blend in the dark bottom. When you have clear water, the fish will be dark. When you have muddy water, the fish will be pale to blend in. They blend in. Man, that bite was amazing, folks. That bite was, I mean, top. I mean, it was like tang, like somebody hit a freaking plate and I heard. This is a little bluegill. But this bite, the way it hit with a single tap, but so crisp, the way I felt it. Oh my goodness, folks. Oh my goodness, folks. You know, I made a poll the other day. What line do you use for twitching? 50% of the people who answered the poll, and notice that I'm not saying of my subscribers, but 50% of the people who answered the poll said braid. That is extremely disappointing. So now all of a sudden, all of you guys say, yeah, ultralight, yeah. And then you guys put the 8 and 10 pound braid and cinch up the drag, and you tell me that the Eradicator doesn't have enough power. If you fish with 8 pound braid, your capacity to horse fish out of cover is enormous. I mean, I can tell you that even my jigs, if you fish with braid, my jigs are probably too thin for you. You're gonna snap them, open them, all kinds of stuff. My jigs cannot take more than 3-4 pounds of force. You can cinch the drag, do whatever you want. If you go over 3 pounds, you're on your own. My jigs will not hold over 3 pounds. You have to play the fish. It will not work. Not with my jigs anyway. That's why nobody else uses thin wire in United States. That's why everybody uses the nasty fat wire. And that's why they don't want to spend the extra money to buy Japanese hooks. Because at the end of the day, I've tried them all, and I can tell you that if you make a hook of 0.48 millimeter wire, and that's the diameter of my jigs, size 12 hook, the Daiwa jigs, it's 0.48 millimeter. I don't care if it's made in Japan, I don't care where it's made, it's not gonna be strong. You have 2 options: make it rigid, so when you set the hook it doesn't open and penetrates, or make it very flexible so it opens all the time and you can bend it back. But it's just a trade-off. If you think opening is better because you didn't break it, yeah, but up to 1 pound my hooks don't open at all. They're very rigid at the first like 1 pound of force. So when you set the hook, your penetration is better due to the rigidity of the hook. And is there anything other than baby bluegill here? So rigidity and flexibility is just a trade-off. And this one might be a crappie and might even be a night crappie. Hey, comments on the Chinese spool. I have done professional analytics and statistics, folks, for I don't know how many years. And I'm always, because sometimes my job has been to find the bias in a study. And every study has a bias. Sometimes the studies were paid, so they're not even hiding their bias. But now when I do something, I'm thinking, what is my own bias? And when I hate something, you always have bias. If you hate something, you're very biased. And this spool, the clip is not nice, the lip is too big, the colors don't match at all. Yellow bass putting this kind of fight. But in all honesty, let's give credit where credit is due. American saying. I love that American saying. Let's give credit where credit is due. This Chinese spool does sound very nice. I will say that I think it even sounds better than the 2020 Vanford. So, man, he ate it good. So if you can tolerate the colors, but I don't know what's the point, because the spool is not even cheaper. You can buy original spool for $40. So why buy the Chinese one? In that case, why even bother with the Chinese? Where is my hook keeper, man? How? I managed. Man, what a fight. What a fight. Yeah, if this Chinese spool was like $20, I would tell you, screw it, just buy it. But now, what's the point? You're not even saving money. And what if you have to sell the reel? I can definitely recommend, do not sell your original spool if you buy the Chinese knockoff. Do not sell the original, because one day if you want to sell the reel looks much better with the original spool. So I have to apologize on video, on air, to the gentleman. I promised one gentleman to sell my stock spool for $40, since I bought this one for $40. And the other one is, I thought I'll sell the original for $40. You're gonna tell me this is yellow bass too? This thing heavy and head shakes. You're gonna tell me this is yellow bass too? Man, this thing head shaky, folks. Yeah, I apologize to that gentleman. I'm gonna back out of the deal. I don't even know if this is ethical, because I kind of promised him. I'm gonna back out of this deal. I cannot sell my original spool, as much as I hate the sound, and I'll probably fish the Chinese, but I'm just gonna put the stock spool in the box. If one day I sell the reel, or I just put it on a shelf to remember what we were fishing 20 years ago. If I put it on a shelf or sell it, I want to sell it with the stock spool. Is this really a freaking yellow bass? This thing is pulling like a 3-pound crappie. This is how I feel. Heavy and big head shakes. It feels like a freaking 3-pound crappie. Like I've caught a 3-pound crappie. Remember one time, another big yellow bass. Man, what a fight. One time I worked at Sears, and they asked me to be Santa for Christmas. So I dress like Santa, and some kids are taking pictures down in the hallway. Some kids are taking pictures with me. Yeah, one kid told me, hey, you don't look like Santa. I was like, when did you see Santa, punk? Have you seen Santa? And why are you telling me I don't look like Santa? Okay, I didn't call him punk, but I did, in all honesty, tell him, why, have you seen Santa? How do you know? I don't look like Santa. Anyway. You know what? I'll keep catching them yellow bass. I will keep catching them. Maybe, by the way, the water is 46 degrees. March 1st or 2nd, 46 degree water. Hopefully in the afternoon this muddy water will warm up a little bit and some fish will pull out of the depths. I do want to catch a couple crappie, not many, but a couple of crappie. Maybe in this muddy water the crappie is not active enough to chase a twitch. It is possible that if I toss the float I might catch a few. Man, I am seeing some fish here. Is this all yellow bass? I don't believe this. I think the crappie is just in shock and they are waiting for the water conditions to recover. That was a good bite, probably the 4-inch bluegill. There is plenty, for sure, of 4-inch bluegill around here. No more tail, folks. That's the problem. That is the problem, folks, with the Zimmerlarva Z. The tail is not good. When I'm picking up grass, folks, I gotta run it a little bit faster, or I gotta switch to the 125-10. If I show you the depth, I'm in 3.3 feet of water casting into 8 feet. I still want 1.5 grams. Just like to cast far and feel the jig better and not wait 8-10 seconds just for the jig to sink. I like heavy jigs more. Fall rate, slow fall rate is overrated. I think it's overrated. Okay, that's a little bluegill, but at least it hit good. Yeah, I like the sound of this fake Chinesium. Why? I don't know. Everything else is fine, but why make the spool lip so huge? That doesn't even match the specs of the original. Why make it so huge? Man, this little bluegill, what's going on today, folks? Can't find my my hook remover. I have to make a hook remover too. I have to make a hook remover. If at least they didn't make the spool lip so huge, so it's just the colors. So it's just the colors and the line clip. The line clip I don't care about, to be honest with you. It's just the fact that you know that it's worse, it bothers you, but I don't care about it. Okay, nicer fish. Man, not one crappie, really. It's a slow head shake again. Man, these fish feel good, folks. Look at the head shakes on the rod. Look at the head shakes. 2.1 pound line. And Eradicator. By the way, this is the new fake Eradicator. Some people are calling it fake. I didn't see any differences, but I'm careful up to a point. There comes a point where even if something is different, I don't care. But somebody told me that some of the letters here are not exactly the same, or the label wasn't exactly the same. I forgot what he told me. But I'm certain that he is right. But I don't think this is a fake. This rod is so sensitive. It feels so amazing. that so what if it's fake? So what if it's fake? Tell me. I mean, it feels amazing. It feels just as amazing. Yeah, the flat spot is still here, just like in the original. There's a little flat spot in this rod, right over here, above the connection. Just like in the original. I wish the fake didn't have the defect. What? Oh. He gonna have to wait. I'm busy right now. Yeah, some fakes are known to be of higher quality than the original. There are some auto parts. Most of the fake auto parts are worse. But there are some auto parts where the original was so bad that the fake is actually of higher quality than the original. People are trolling back and forth for trout. I don't see them catching anything, but I'm gonna try trolling too. Just for a little bit. Yeah. Casting distance is, even if impaired, sufficient. Impaired but sufficient nonetheless. Let's put it like that. All in all, to tell you the truth, it's not a catastrophe that I spent $40 on this spool. It sounds nice. Oh, this is a catastrophe. This is a catastrophe, and I don't want to lose this jig. You know what I'm gonna do, folks? Because I want to start trolling anyway, I'm gonna go pull this jig out. I'm gonna try to catch one or two more fish around this area. And I'm gonna come back here in the afternoon, hopefully when the temps go up a little bit. Did I open the spool? Let's open the spool. Yeah, I dropped anchor here because without anchor my boat is left and right, and you have to use your trolling motor too much and it spooks the fish. I need to buy a bass boat one day when my business explodes through the roof. One day my business will explode, right, folks? Wow, that's a lot of muck. I don't even want to bring this in the boat. Let me tie it off here to the side, so when I troll around, the current from the water will wash the anchor. Picked up so much mud. You know what is the saddest thing of all? In 50% of the cases, even when I lift anchor and I go to pick up my jig, I lose it anyway. The saving grace is sometimes the stump is rotten. So even though the jig sank 5 millimeters into the stump, because it's rotten, you can kind of pull it out of the surface of the stump. See? Came out. Success. It was worth it. My gosh. First fish in a very long time. And it's a crappie. Right on the bank. Right on the bank. Maybe they're on the bank and I'm fishing deep. See? Pale. Evolution. Yeah, something running. Yeah, I like the sound of this spool. I don't want to say that the sound alone is enough to compensate for defects that I showed you in the video. Don't tell me I lost another tail. No, he's just double hooked. Oh no. This time I did lose the tail, folks. Wow. All right, I'm not gonna tie another jig, but we caught enough fish, folks. Let me leave you with a nice shot for maybe for the thumbnail of the video. What do you guys think? Can you tell that the spool doesn't match the color of the reel and the rod? It's not too bad. Only on the table, right? One more time. It's not bad. All right, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go troll back and forth now to try to catch some trout. I'm gonna check a couple of these coves, and if nothing works in the afternoon, I'm gonna come back here and try the floats for crappie. But that's the end of this one. Bye bye.